generally going to be played out in the way that the list without Il'gynoth is going to be played, right? The goal is pretty much the same. There's no like big combos outside of the expected of Illidari Inquisitor, and then of course this Il'gynoth included. But yeah, I'm excited to see how it performs, as we've not really seen it over in the European region yet. But excuse me, it is going to be Jarla on the bottom there with an okay mulligan there, just having one maker and those Eldraki Warblades to start off with. And Warma, not having quite as good a mulligan for me.
No, but it still has significant chance to improve here. Goody 2 shields kept, and that is looking much rosier already.
Yeah, much, much better there. Just a straight up curve with a flexible coin there for Warma, if he wants to change his mind at any point. Ooh, a lot of options now.
I think I like it now. Just coin two into 2 into 3 into 4. Just hold the anointment for some point where you actually do need some refill.
Yeah, I mean, the card draw probably doesn't make an impact because, as we've just pointed out, he already has tons of options, and the 1/1 will 100% be dead if Jarla wants it to be dead and achieve, like, nothing, right? So, yeah, I like this a lot. Gonna farm this one maker too.
Slightly awkward skull positioning. It's a lot of mana that needs to be spent on the left-hand side before Jarla's able to get to that, it's particularly because so much of it is weapon charges.
I grow impatient.
Yeah, the interesting thing with this deck as well is how Skull with Inquisitors can interact, especially with Raging Fell Screamer. Like, there are draws that can get you like a double Inquisitor turn, which is pretty dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, the Illidari studies and all the other discount cards in the deck can just lead to some ridiculous things. Like I think with the OTK Demon Hunter, there's like a theoretical turn 4 OTK that's possible. If you're on coin, you like double discount Skull and then coin it out on 3 and hit 3 perfect cards. I think it's possible. So yeah, Illidari studies and Skull interaction, and then potential discounts that come in there as well from Raging Fell Screamer do have the ability to make some extremely strange things happen.
One thing that did surprise me at the beginning of the expansion, after seeing Illidari, the Inquisitor, sorry, is that there wasn't some kind of Raging Fell Screamer philosophy list. Just to make like 3 or 4 of them and just do it like just relentlessly just push them on board, because they have rush, right? We talked about this yesterday. They're great just minions in themselves, an 8/8 with rush that can potentially attack another target. Like, it's very, very powerful. So I was a little bit surprised we didn't see that, but with the spell sort of lifesteal OTK Demon Hunter, I guess it's just not going to be as good, right?
Right.
Another annoying minion for Jarla to have to deal with. These Divine Shields are really paying for themselves right now, aren't they?
It's so awkward. Like, Jarla's play, if he wants to just say Skull on 6, like, obviously it gets there, right? He played his 3 on 3, he's going to play his 4 on 4, he plays his 5 on 5, and then he plays his 6 on 6. Like, it works from the left-hand side of the hand. But all the plays he's had to do in order to enable that have just been so bad on board, right? Like, this Raging Fell Screamer into this board just sucks. This is not a good Hearthstone turn. It's just a sacrifice that you're making to unlock that Skull of Gul'dan on turn 6.
And it's like catch-22, right? Because if he swings into the shield to make Warma play a spell, fine, you've used the swing, you've taken the damage, and there's still probably a value trade. If you don't, well, there's almost definitely a value trade. So it's just like, I don't even know what he should do here. I guess what you pointed out is probably most relevant. Does Jarla feel he needs to play Skull on 6? Probably decides what he does, right? Whether he swings or not this turn.
I think that means you just swing face and you just accept that this is a fantastic trade for your opponent, and then you're playing Warglaives next turn and hoping that can clean up. All right, he's going to take the trade.
So this means that if it's spell trade, then he can insta-kill it with the Warglaives, right? Whereas the other way around, you'd have to do twice.
The big punish here is like Hand of Adal, I suppose, but yeah. Yeah, the big punish here is Hand of Adal, I suppose. Oof.
Plus Secret as well.
Yeah.
Could be a big problem. Like, oh my Yogg, I know what you generally want to play into 6, but we could see if he just squeezes it in here. Jarla only really has the weapon to play to get rid of it, to play the skull, and then he can't play the skull. So
it's an impossible read to make.
Oh, it is,
right?
100%, 100%.
How do you know that? I don't think there's any realistic way. I think Warma might feel like Galloping Savior is more beneficial this turn, and then he just jams Oh My Yogg into the next turn. But you're absolutely right. If the hands were face up, Oh My Yogg would certainly look like a very good turn here. Okay, Battle Fiend discount.
Just funny because for a second I was like, what? And then I realized, yeah, he plays Raging Fellscream in this deck. We saw it before.
Yeah, he cast in Demon's Flow on his deck, Raven. So all his demons cost one less. He's going to cast Demon of Lunacy soon, and then they're going to transform into much bigger demons.
I feel like Demon of Lunacy is just OTK Demon Hunter. I feel like that's the kind of power level it's at.
That's fair.
Really tricky, honestly, because he can't kill the 6/4, as you mentioned, the sheer power of Hand of Adal on that turn, but he's going to take so much damage, and it's not as if he's expecting to be able to heal a lot. If the skull hits 0 lifesteal cards, then he's in trouble.
Was this really not? Because, wait, he's still got 2 secrets up, right? So he guarantees it here from the swing, I think? Or he pulled it already off the last one? I'm assuming he already has it in play if he's making this, taking this line. Go on.
Load!
Jarla is yet to gloat.
Taking a turn off the skull.
Yeah, he actually doesn't have it. It's Avenge and Galloping that's in play right now. Interesting.
I guess that was the sacrifice he made, right? Of playing the taunt instead. He just wanted more board space. It protects the, the now 9/6, which was pretty nice.
Right.
Now Jarla only leaves a 1/1 on the board this turn. You know what? Pretty successful turn, I'd say.
Yeah, really, really strong turn. Really strong turn. He is going to have to continue to deal with this Oh My Yogg problem, though, because Warma has preserved all of his Oh My Yoggs, and Jarla just kind of bit into it, right, and didn't play the skull that turn and just kind of proceeded down the path as if it was there, so...
Oh, I'd be so tempted to just Libram and go face. It's never the play, but it's tempting.
Yeah, you've seen one Eldrazi Warblades, right, from the opponent, which is their primary method of healing. You've also seen one Relentless Pursuit, which is their primary method of healing alongside the Eldrazi Warblade.
And there's no I-beams. So... Warma's close. Warma with the Gentleman's Play as well, with picking the 1-cost Golem, of course.
I mean, man of culture over here, look at him. He knows.
What do you get, though? Freeze?
Divine Shield freeze. Yep.
Okay. We've seen how good Divine Shield is at the moment, so even though it's just a 1/1, it's a little bit more damage, maybe. And if that helps him put his opponent to 15-ish, then he can Libram of Judgment and just go face.
And there is the Oh My Yogg this time, pulled out. Jarla does have the tester now with the Spectral Sight, though, even with the discount being consumed. I'm not actually entirely sure how that mechanic works. If he had to cast the Spectral Sight there, obviously it doesn't cast Spectral Sight, but would it consume the Illidari Studies discount? Shut up, Raven! No! Oh, this is going to be...
Okay, you say no. It was proven wrong in APAC. It pulled an Ogre. If this pulls an Illidari Inquisitor, Subtle, I will accept your apology. With a smile.
I will submit it in writing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And if Hearthstone Esports could just, post it, great.
Job's done.
Yeah, well, Jarla is getting there. It's got the board built. He's taking it away from Warma. He is obviously down on health, but that, as we know with Demon Hunter, can be caught up very quickly indeed.
Yep. The judgments in hand are now corrupted for Warma as well, if he does ever feel like he needs to catch up on the healing.
They're not?
Yes, they are. No, they're not. You're right.
Nope.
Sorry, I had like a
graphic is the
visual.
same?
I think I had a visual bug for a while. They were they literally were corrupted on my screen, and then I looked back and they weren't. Yeah.
Well, interesting option though. Speaking of corruption, it could have been Libram of Hope there for Warma, which would have corrupted the weapons. And yeah, this was interesting. I thought, although it's slow, the Libram of Hope would have, got the taunt in the way, healed him back up, and then just gave him so much lifesteal.
That's literally why I checked in the first place, because I felt like if they were corrupted, I kind of like this play of just giddy up and smack them, and if they weren't, I was kind of like, well, let's get them corrupted. So yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one.
Well, now there's just a ton of damage here for Jarla. I am afraid we're not going to see Claw Machine Illidari though.
I mean, they're both still there.
He can't die this turn.
True.
He's going to play it.
I think he is too, yeah.
Oh,
whoa, that's
Wizards are gone.
it's cutting the odds in half, Raven.
But now he's going to play Warglaives, right? If he Warglaive Relentless...
Need to?
Just thinking
Still
if he...
just hero power next turn, right?
He can, it's just obviously having the Warglaives multi-swing might do him a very big favour.
I really feel like these turns have happened in the wrong order from Warma. Like I'm not expecting the 8/8 to stick and deal damage, but like I felt like it chewed up enough of this board that you would then have the time to actually get your swings going with the Librams, right?
I think it should have been a speed bump that had fantastic upside, right? Like that is it, because you're literally making a 10 health swing every turn with one card.
Oh my goodness! What, Spy Mistress, Abusive Sergeant were your two first? What? He needs damage. He had no way ever of sticking a board again against this Demon Hunter, and he first day of schools into Stealth Minion Abusive Sergeant. Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. That's what's happened.
Alright, so where are we at? 20 damage in play currently for Jarla. The Illidari cannot currently just rush cleanly into the taunt and then get to attack phase because it's too big.
Maybe it could if he got one from Claw.
True.
Goodbye.
Helpful.
Okay.
Oh, okay, on the minion, sure.
You would have preferred it on a
Warglaives.
attack.
Relentless. Hero power. He still has to put multiples into the taunt, so I don't think he gets there, right?
Well, he only has to put a 2/3 in, right? And he still gets the 8 attack as the third swing. And he buffs all of these.
Yeah, it's true, actually.
Yeah, he puts the 2/3 in, right?
16, 22, 24. Yeah, he's got it, I think.
Yeah, so they go to 9/9s.
Yep.
Time grows short.
Wait, it's not enough, right?
Works too. 9, 18. Why not? How is this not enough?
Oh, the 5. Yeah, that's why. I just wasn't adding up. Yeah, but
Like, even without the 5?
Yeah.
Even without the 5? Look, there's 5
It's
that
fine.
hasn't attacked.
Look.
It just wasn't close, Raven. What are you talking about?
Because I was looking at something else. All I saw was Claw Machine was played, the game was won. Very similar to what we saw in Asia Pacific. So clearly, one of the best cards in the game right now. Jarla grabbing a win out of nowhere. And again, like, although it obviously didn't end up mattering in the amount of damage Jarla had on that turn, I do wonder if there was just an easier way to order that, and if that would have actually made an impact. What do you think, Sal? Do you think Warma going the other way around would have been enough?
I mean, it's super hard to reconcile, and I'm like really bad at rebuilding board sets, like visually from memory, but it certainly felt like at the time, like not only would he be like, he obviously, I think Jarla killed him from like 28 there in the end, but that weapon that he was swinging with would have had lifesteal if he'd have done it the other way around, first and foremost. It would have been at 30, first and foremost, and I think the majority of those minions would have ended up, going into that taunt in most situations. It might be that Warma very specifically was concerned about just like playing an 8-8 taunt into the turns where Green Rag was going to come down, right? That just wasn't something that he was particularly wanted to do, and I can totally understand that. And obviously, when we can see the hands, it's super easy to be critical in spots like that. But also, I think you have to accept that like that hand was kind of weird and kind of clunky, and if there were certain hands that you probably weren't going to beat anyway, and kind of rule some cards out and look at worlds that you can beat. And to me, it certainly did feel like Libram of Hope first was a higher win rate play, but I'm totally willing to listen to opinions on that.
Oh yeah, it's tough as well because you've got to just consider that Battlefiend was on the board on that turn, right? And it's like, well, Battlefiend's got a lot of damage that turn, from the multi-weapon swing on the lethal. But let's move on to our next game. Warma with his Ping Mage, which is predominantly spell-based, with just a few minions there that, Jandis being chucked in, because if you're going to play minions and you can play Jandis, you probably should. But some of this ping package, we saw some of that strength, even if they weren't necessarily winning games. But when Warma was just like aggressively, pinging the priest and just pushing tons of damage every single turn with very minimal effort, it did actually look like there could be something to this list.
It did. That game got very memey very quick.
It did.
When Falcane ended up illusioning a complete nonsense of a hand and feeding his opponent lethal towards the end. I'm not quite sure, how that game was supposed to resolve in terms of the world of forms, perfect play and things being executed and what the matchup is. But there's certainly some upside to the list, but there's certainly some downside that needs to be talked about as well with the mage list, which we will certainly get into. And it looks like we're going to run it back all over again because it's the priest coming out from Jarla again. So we get to see the opportunity, this long, grindy, drawn-out battle come to fruition once again.
Yeah, and especially what we've been talking about Priest all weekend is how the end game is built. And Jarla taking a slightly different path from most of the players, going for not only Ysera, but also Yogg-Saron and one natural Soul Mirror as well. Whereas I think in GM over the past week and a half, all the Soul Mirrors we generally see are generated Soul Mirrors, right? So having Jarla just having that core one in the deck is something that players need to be aware of at all times, because as we've seen already this weekend, Soul Mirror can cause some pretty nutty outcomes, especially when you play Rustwix in your deck, Jarla. So it's pretty interesting list here from Jarla. But he's another player kind of similar to Warma. It's tough to keep track of these names, where he will make his own, even just small tech choices that no one else will bring, and he just makes it work for himself.
Right. Is Reckless Apprentice a keep in this deck? I mean, I'm asking that as a genuine question, and I'm asking it to no one in particular apart from Warma, really, because he's the guy that's playing this deck. He says no, which would be my instinct as well, particularly against Priest, right, where it doesn't really end up being an impactful clear. I think if you're playing against Face Hunter or a Token Druid or an Aggro Paladin or something like that, it's probably considered a much more high priority keep. But yeah, I think looking for that early Incanters flow, early Refreshing Spring Water, early Wildfire even is probably a lot more beneficial.
Yeah, and in a roundabout way, again, I'm no specialist of this deck by any means, but that card, as we saw, I believe, yesterday, is very useful for getting Modresh active once there's some wildfires, right? Activating that Modresh in that plus a couple of pings, as opposed to, chucking out tons of them throughout the game, is pretty impactful.
Yeah, Gia and I were testing this mage versus Token Druid in particular, which, by the way, is a really fun matchup. We could have quite happily wasted an entire day just jamming that matchup and learned nothing else about Hearthstone apart from how to play this one incredibly niche matchup incredibly well. But, I think the first game we played, Gia generated a board and I cleared it out with the Reckless Apprentice. Having already played Wildfire, and then 2 turns later, Gia was like, what's your Modresh counter on? I was like, Gia, it's done. I cleared your board with Reckless Apprentice. I have 16 damage in my Modresh. It's been done at this point.
Yeah, it did surprise me the first couple of times how easily it happens in any matchup as well.
Yeah.
But getting back to the one at hand, Jarla gonna land that Mancrik. And now just having limited options. I think that's like the big question with Priest. I think Control Priest is a very, very good deck right now. But sometimes when you get just some of those dry hands, it can be very tough to pull yourself out of it.
Second time we've seen Warma make this play against Priest, by the way, just devolving a Mancrik on turn 3. He did it last week as well, and it was featured in Gia's video when she was talking about the keep of devolving missiles, I think, in his pure spell mage at that time. Clearly very, very focused on just not letting Priest have board, and also just denying, at least decent raised dead targets when they come around, which of course Mancrik is certainly a decent raised dead target. Really just using that card at the first opportunity that you can to maintain some tempo. Please, one time. I'm so mad, Raven.
Just get good, Sol.
Yeah, I know. Again, there are, I believe, 6 minions in this deck in total, and I have not once successfully cast Refreshing Spring Water without hitting at least one of them.
And I do think if you're going to look out for something in this matchup, or this game, should I say, is the tipping point where Warma starts pinging every turn, right? Because obviously he's not there yet. If he pings at 30 and doesn't do anything else, well, Jarla's heal more or less covers it every time. Whereas there will be a moment where Warma's either built enough of a board, pushed enough damage, has got to a mana count where there could be, like Mask of Cthulhu, and then potentially some fireballs in his hand, which will two-turn Jarla, where pinging every turn becomes very important. We're obviously not there yet, but it will be. I am interested at least to see when that begins. Is this a tempo play for you, Sottle? Do you like it?
Don't hate it. It's not illegal. I can tell you that. Like, it's not like it's a card that you desperately need against a no lunacy mage, right? Like, particularly the only real big Xyrella you'd ever need against spell mages if they're in deck of lunacy, usually. So I can certainly see the merit of playing it out as a tempo 4/4 here, but I imagine Jarla's philosophy will be, well, why would I? And just continue to hold on to it. Yep.
Well, also as well, like, what's interesting is, although this deck plays minions, it doesn't play Apexis Blast and Font of Power, which is where the majority of a spell damage mage minion comes from. And you can argue that the minions Warma plays overall end up being a little bit weaker because he plays like, the 4 mana 3/5 and so on.
Yeah, I think maybe Jandis is something that you'll end up clearing with Xyrella if it comes down to it, which is probably a good enough reason to hold on to it over any real merit that you can come up with for playing it. So yeah, I think it's totally fine just to hold on to it.
Now we're just seeing it. You mentioned it about Hunter, I think, earlier on, but the real weakness of Priest is just play 1 minion against them.
Yep.
And then they're in trouble.
If you just play one sizable minion, something in the region of, a 4/4 to a 6/6, or, if you can get one 10/10 on board, sure, take it. But, just one reasonable mid-range minion, because they don't play Shadow of Death in their deck anymore. So unless they generate it, you can peruse through that entire deck list. There is no card in their deck that deals with this situation directly. They rely on combinations of cards or multiple minions being in play for Hysteria, or like an AoE plus a Holy Smite to take down your 1 minion to really solve this problem. So this is certainly something that you can leverage against Priest, is just 1 minion, smack face with it, follow it up with burn. I certainly did it in terms of Face Hunter, but Mage is very well equipped to do that same thing as well.
Yeah, it's going to be I hope it's going to be the new Priest saying is, well, if it's got more than 3 health, it's going to be safe, as opposed to the 4 attack meme we all know about.
It's true. It's true, right? Like, it used to be like, well, I'd really wish my Imprisoned Felmore had 1 less attack against Priest. It'd be so much better. It's just not the case anymore, because they just don't play Death. Like, the meme just doesn't even hold anymore. Just play the biggest thing you can, and just don't play anything else alongside it, and just keep hitting them with it.
Oh, now there's a way. Just whether he wants to commit to it. And I have to ask these questions even more when Jarla's the one involved, because he will do the bare minimum every single turn. So, like, you could say, oh, well, he sticks Blade Master, he heals up a bit, fine, but he gets rid of this 1 minion that he's just not going to have an answer for. But Jarla's like, I could just take another 4. It's fine. Yeah, and it just tickles me, Sol. It tickles me.
Yeah, and I think specifically because he has Blade Master Apotheosis in hand, he totally can take another 4. I think
as long as there's a minion.
Yes.
Or even, you could argue, as long as there's multiple minions on the turn he chooses to use Blade Master, right?
True. I mean, that flash heal is certainly going to help now as well. Which he could even choose to go for now if he really wants to. That's a much more appealing clear now with the flash heal Jarla if he wants to go down that route.
But does he need to? There's one... oh, sorry, go on.
I'm saying no, he doesn't need to, apparently.
Yep. There's one really cool combo, and obviously we just see one of the cards played now, but I actually really love the interaction of like Focused Will and Hysteria to get like really good clears off, because you can just give one minion so much more health, and then like remove death rattle effects or any, anything annoying that it'll do outside of just hit the other minions of the opponent. So it's a cool little combo you see pop up, but Jarla just decided he wants to try and stick a minion instead.
Yeah, and I think those two cards existing at the same time is like 100% designer intention, right? Like I think they are very much intended to work together in that way. Second minion, you fool! Why have you done such a thing? Trying to decide. Obviously, this is a perfect Hysteria clear, but it's also a decent Blade Master, which will restore that 8 health that he sat with, and also leave a minion in play. I think Jarla does have to consider now minions in play, such like doing this clear with Blade Master or Jarla as opposed to doing it with Hysteria, because every minion he leaves in play soaks damage from Mask of Cthulhu, which is one of the few big power cards that this deck does play. When you cut out Apexis Blast, that does cut down the amount of burn that you have available. You try and make that up with your hero power synergy, but you do still have that Mask of Cthulhu in there that is a terrifying amount of damage if you leave your board empty as a control deck against Mage.
I do think I actually like the Jarla here, because he doesn't have to commit a ton of healing. All he has to do is like renew hero power, right? And he clears the board. So he can save the flash heal if there's like a big burn plan going. He saves the Blade Master Apotheosis rush if there's a chance to do it, say, for Jandis.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, the Blade Master doesn't actually clear the board, right? Unless I'm being stupid.
Nope.
Just gonna go Hysteria.
Does give him the opportunity to tank this mask. Whoa. I'm pretty sure you juice it, right? Mask, double Fireball, Solarium Prime is your hand. I'm ripping Mask every single time. Yep, like this.
And now there's no minions for Blade Master Apotheosis combo either, so this is where things might start to get quite scary for Jarla.
Jarla has some pretty good information to work off here, though, because no flows have been cast, so he knows the max damage from hand is vanilla. He doesn't have to add any modifiers to what can be done with 9 mana. So honestly, might be thinking about opportunities to just like play a big minion and just make Warma kill it, and instead of, in case like you can threaten Apotheosis on the following turn. Like if you can just jam your Sarah here and live, right, then you then have Apotheosis, Nightmare, Flash Heal, Renew to then follow that up on the following turn. It's a scary prospect though.
And Jarla will certainly just be going through his head, going through the deck list, going, what could I die to this turn? And I think the answer might only be Prime.
I think the answer is
this much mana. Because he's not
like
playing...
Fireball Ping would kill him, you've got to remember, because the ping is upgraded, but there isn't mana to be able to do that.
Yeah, and no Incanter's Flow has been played, yeah, exactly. Right. So yeah, Jarla just saying, you know what, I can whip in the heal, I can play the Ysera, and this will be enough.
Mm-hmm. Yep, love this play. Giddy up.
Let's go!
Cold one with the boys.
And Warma, you can see, he doesn't want it. Another one! And another one!
Oh, I mean, he got Wildfire. Like, is that an exchange he's willing to take? I'm not even sure.
Best card! It's back!
So looking at Warma's deck, he had a Fireball in there, a Refreshing Spring Water, and then the rest of his deck is 2s and 1s. His deck is 7, 7, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 4 in terms of like natural cost of spells. When he draws them, they're significantly cheaper than that, but there's a lot of 5s in there.
They're all a Pexis Blast, then sounds good, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And then that 1/4 is a Fireball. Oh. Do you think this is going to be Jarla committing Nightmare this turn with the Blade Master and Apotheosis? Or do you think that's too much?
It could be. The full health reset is certainly appealing here.
And just as much as the Primer's done its job, it's a 7/7 with spell damage in a predominantly spell-based damage mage. So I think there's a good amount of respect that this needs to be shown, and by looks of things, Jarla agrees.
Did you catch the burn, by the way? I was too busy looking at deck lists at the start of the turn. What Jarla?
Yes, Scorpid.
Scorpid? Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. He is going to go for the... I like this. Just get the heal. Don't mess around. It's still it's a relatively big minion, I guess, on board if there's another mask or in more AoE kind of sort of potential burst damage that happens as well.
Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good 5. All right, we take those. Yep.
Like 2 Apexis Blasts, nearly.
It's also barely an upgrade. It swaps his hero power to deal 4 damage. It currently deals 3.
The thing about it is, though, it allows him to do it twice, so he can spend his mana in this fashion, right? And then next turn he can spend 3 mana to do the same hero power twice, more or less.
Yes, you are correct. You're going to combustion the 6/3 here. I imagine he will. I think it's a pretty significant change to the clock, right? To take 6 damage off the board here. Yeah, I like it. The boy! In case there was any doubt in your mind, by the way, Mordresh is fully juiced now at this point. Fairly obvious from the way that last turn went, but it's there.
It doesn't specify which hero power you have to use.
Correct.
Oh, I so wish that was a Hunter card. Imagine.
God,
literally, imagine.
Honestly, I could have made so much money if in that split second someone allowed me to place a bet on the next words out of your mouth.
Oh, it'd be so good. So, Blizz, I've got a cool idea for a card, right?
No, you want Reckless Apprentice in Hunter. That's what you really want.
Oh yeah,
that's the real juice.
I play every what is it? Is it something Warden that summons the minions for the opponent? I'd just play that.
Yes. Yeah. That sounds like genuinely sounds like a pretty good combo. Yeah.
What is the plan here? Just make a massive man crit? Oh, he didn't go for it at the end. I think he was hovering the power word, but decided to go for the additional minion instead.
Mm-hmm. You're not going to get a juicier priest board to nuke than this one, surely. Yeah. Boom! Goes the dynamite. Sick animation. Dude's jamming on a giant axe guitar. What's not to love?
Mm-hmm. Dream?
I'm going to go ahead and say no to that one.
Ooh, Shadow Word Death looks a little bit better.
It does.
Or just Yogg and say, you know what, you played your 10 cost, I'll play mine.
I wonder.
Also, this Reckless Apprentice Metamorphosis synergy on the other side.
Oh.
Do you think it consumes it? It shouldn't, right? Like with the way the interaction works, it doesn't actually use hero power, right? So
like
it shouldn't count.
Yeah, the minion casts a copy of your hero power, I think is basically how it works.
Yeah.
I wonder.
We finally hitting like a tempo Zarella, or is Jarla just going to pass again after the Shadow Word Death, I imagine? Oh no, it's going to clear. Okay, and keep the Shadow Word there.
Gonna hold the death. Yeah, okay.
I like playing something though, because I don't think he can hold, right? I think he needs something
Right.
on board.
Yeah, for sure. That's a whiff on a 5-drop. We've talked about this before. Like, on average, 5 drops should make you boards. Just when you get extra card draw in your 5-drop slots from Deck of Lunacy, that's generally pretty disappointing because it really lowers the value of your deck overall. Oh, Soul Rend. Oh.
I don't know. I think Warma should just start aiming things face. He has like 1 million damage.
True. Whoa! Yeah, tough choice, I guess.
I am very surprised that there wasn't a Reckless Apprentice there. Obviously, you know, Jandis is good, but like Reckless Apprentice killed the 4/4, dealt 4 to face, and is a 3/5 on board.
Mm-hmm. You've got a Yogg, right? If you're winning the game, you've got a Yogg this turn, I think. It's my initial instinct.
What if you make your opponent Yogg?
Well, that's I want a Yogg so I can Illusion next turn. Is basically what I'm getting at. I just want to get the Yogg out of my hand, live this.
Hope you don't die. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you're right. Oh well, there's mana.
Cards are green, so I think this is going to be Puzzle Box, and he's going to have innovated somehow.
Or you can. Oh yeah, I guess so.
Oh, it's spells. Yeah, spells cost 0. Okay.
And here we go. You can gain mana. Oh, sorry. You can draw a card as well with this Overgrowth. He wants to.
True.
Palm reading's feeling quite silly right now.
He has to do it because he needs to find an answer for the Mazaki. That is not it.
He
You
could dream it.
You can Fortitude Death it as well, right? If this has been fixed. I don't know if this has been fixed or not, but the card text says give a minion, but there was a time where you couldn't use it on enemy minions?
I believe it has been fixed.
Okay, in which case he could have Fortitude Deathed on the other side, which may have been better because your opponent still just has a Mazaki in their hand at this point.
Well, I think that's fine though, because how many cheap spells are there for Warma left in the deck? Obviously there's the Lunacy, but
all of them. Yeah.
no, but what I mean is like it's not like Warma can like OTK him with Mazaki on the turn he plays it, right? And
Sure.
Jarla has a 13/13.
Sure.
And he can just mind render and play it himself if he really wants, if it's not played this turn.
That's true. That's actually a very good point, yeah.
I can take them. Wait, not all of them.
Okay.
So Solarium Prime, double Fireball, additional ping. Next turn is 15 damage with just Fireball, Fireball, ping.
Yep. Nexus Mana finds Raise Dead number 2. I think this hand is just too garbage.
I think it has to be Death Mind Render, right?
I think so.
What's good about this hand is it's not like will Warma want to play Raised Deads? With what he's played, maybe, but I think this hand is about as trash as you could hope for Jarla to give to Warma.
Yeah.
I like this a lot. Gets the knowledge as well. And he has to Fireball, right? From his view? Oh, I guess not, right? He could go to 16 and be arguably safe, but yeah, he has to.
Yeah, it seems ugly though. Yeah. The real, I think the one real kicker about, Jarla wanting to do this though is that he currently has rigged fair game in play, right? Which is a potential problem.
So Warma will definitely want to ping face this turn.
Oh! Hello? Wait, you're just leaving him with a prime in his hand? Is that a good idea?
If he plays it and draws Jarla loads of cards, though. You know
Sure.
what I mean? Like, that's... Oh, it's actually so scary both ways. Oh, not exciting in any way.
Drop the condemn. Yeah, she pings face as well. Okay. Sure.
You think he would have wanted to draw his hand? Or draw his deck, should I say?
Arguable, right? They are incredibly cheap. Like, having a full hand, I know obviously it pushes you closer to fatigue, but having like the ability to just overwhelm that hard in one turn is pretty insane.
Well, here we go.
That's not it.
Counterspell, though. Pretty big deal.
Yeah, he did get Ice Barrier as well. I believe, what, he's at 21?
Yeah, these minions basically kill the Ice Barrier and do 1 damage, right? So he's on 12. If he goes face with them both, of course.
Yep.
Again! I'm enjoying this game
Long-term
of prime
pressure of
tennis.
this ping is just so disgusting, isn't it?
Well, this is what I was saying, what we saw the other day as well, right? It was just the relentlessness of 3 damage every turn is crazy. Okay. Pexis Blast for 1 and it's active?
Oh, that's so bad. So bad for Jarla.
I mean, he just may as well, right?
I mean, it's, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, even if it's
Fireball next
counterspell, like, yeah, exactly.
Is that right, actually? Wait. Isn't it? I mean, it's counterspell very, very often. I know it's a random secret, but if it was counterspell, you then have the ability to go like Fell Guardians, and you can still play Fireball and a Pexis Blast next turn, even after you get Fell Guardians counterspelled, even if you don't draw anything else relevant from your deck.
What is
Yeah, I guess it was. I guess it was more just, well, what if it's not?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was an opportunity just to have lethal that turn, which is hard to turn down if it was like Netherwind Portal or something.
Because it's not like Jarla chose the secrets, right?
Right, they just came from the Solarian, yeah.
Yeah, tough one, mate. You know.
He knows Soul Mirror is death because he's seen the Fireball. He has to find some other line.
Yeah, he knows there's what, at least a 9 damage next turn, at a minimum.
From Fireball ping, yeah.
Yeah, it's filthy, isn't it?
You don't pick the one.
And make a renew. Never mind. Probably wasn't going to cut it. Couldn't kill the minions either. And Warma's mage, you know, gets the job done once more. And I'm probably getting too hyped on it because it's just such a different list that I've not seen anyone else really play. The ping mages I've seen earlier on have been way more minion based, but yeah, it's just cool to see, and especially in that matchup, I think it's twice we've seen it do very well versus Priest and just prove that like that relentless hero power that Priest just can't really deal with, or not for long. Anyway.
It does seem to be where the deck's at, right? Is like looking at Priest specifically and just saying like, well, if you're going to play this like slow trundling anti-aggro deck with no win condition in it, I'm just going to ping you every turn and you will die eventually. Like there's not enough stuff in your deck to prevent that from happening when I back it up with Mask of Cthulhu, Fireballs, Solarian Prime, an extra 10 damage coming out from Mordresh whenever I want it, you know? Like all of this stuff stacks up super, super high, and you know, yes, 2 Apexis Blast are cut from the deck in terms of what Spellmage would be playing, but that's 10 damage. You know how quickly 10 damage gets replaced by better Hunter hero power? Really, really fast.
Yeah. It's a big deal, isn't it? And also, I kind of like the fact that obviously there are minions in the deck, but they're few and far between. So you don't even have, I imagine, not that many draws where, oh, I got my minion draw and now Priest is allowed to play the game, because Priest wants you to play minions so they can remove stuff, gain the effects, get the the big Samuro turns and so on. But there aren't that many, and any minions that are played in the deck do a job as soon as they are played. You don't need them to stick, right? They do the job.
Weirdly, you have the same amount of minions in your deck as Spellmage do, right? Actually, you have less minions in your deck than Spellmage does, because I think Warma has 6 minions in his deck, And Spellmage has 2 Font of Powers, which give them 6 minions, and 2 Apex's Blast, which give them 2 minions. So they have 8 minions in their deck. So like, there's actually just more minions in Spellmage than there is in Warma's build. It's just Warma has to actually draw them, which still creates my #1 issue with the deck, which is Refreshing Springwater. And you know, I talked about this before, but like Refreshing Springwater for 2 mana, draw 2 is still a good card, but it's a problem that you don't know how much mana you have at the start of your turn. If it's not 100% reliable, that can really be a card that can bite you. But we're still talking about the deck even after it's won and it's out the series, because it's, you know, one of the most interesting decks that we're looking at this season so far. But we did just see another interesting twist in Warma's Priest as well, which is a card that is going to have some potential to cause some caster mishaps over time, I think, Raven, with the particular 2-drop that Warma is including in his deck.
Yes, you know, I'll just touch on this. It's what you guys are looking at. Pretty standard spell mage. Honestly, nothing too crazy sticking out. Jarla, of course, still sticking with Deck of Lunacy. But yeah, that card in Priest, it's a card I think I could stare at for an hour and still just not make my mind up about it. Of like, when it's good, when it's bad, is it worth it in the deck? What is it good against? I just don't know. It's weird. It's a 2-mana card that will always have like +1/+1 on the targeted minion, right?
Yes.
Does that make sense? So it will always be able to positively trade, and I haven't really seen it played. Not on really any streams. I've not played against it. I've not played really with it yet. So it's just, I just don't know about that card. There's my answer, Sol.
Yeah. We see look at Jarla's far more regular build of Spellmage, no great surprises. It's basically the list that we've been seeing all over the place for the past couple of weeks, except Lunacy costs 4. So we're going to keep talking about Serena Bloodfeather because that's much more interesting. If you aren't familiar with the card, choose an enemy minion, steal attack and health from it until this has more, is the card text, this referring to Serena Bloodfeather, the card. Starts off as a 1/1, and then it steals independently attack and health until it has more of both of them, which means it can end up in some like weird shapes in comparison to what it is. If you don't understand what any of that means, don't worry, no one does until they actually see it happen the first time. It's an incredibly confusing card, and I hope Warma has put the reps in to really understand all the situations, and I'm sure he will know all the outcomes far better than either of us will, and I'm sure we're about to make absolute idiots out of ourselves.
Honestly, I think there are 2 things you learn. One's simple, one's not. We probably can't very quickly tell you what the exact stats will be, but what we can tell you is one minion will have 1 more on each stat than the other one. and that's it. That's just true.
Yep. Whoa, big old Lunacy on 4, which means Jarla now has decisions to be making, because he also has Incanter's Flow in his hand. So he has to make the choice right now. Discount his deck, go for the burn plan, or skip the discount, go for the Lunacy plan, Incanters afterwards. Personally, I am still an Incanters gamer if it ends up in my opening hand, particularly in slow matchups. We'll see if Jarla is going to disagree here.
And how much do you think...
Sorry, I just going to say, particularly because there's a Sethic on board right now, which actually gives me something else I want to do this turn as opposed to playing Incanter's Flow. Like, I don't feel I'm going to waste this turn if I just, like, Devolving Missiles this Sethic or something else, you know?
And how much...
He's going to go for it, no?
How much do you think that the hand itself plays into this? Because one thing I can see that's pretty clear is, I guess without counting Ruined Orb, Jarla's not drawn any burn yet. So I wonder if Jarla there's ever a consideration to actually just play the burn game against Priest and just say, I'm just not going to play Deck of Lunacy and I want to go burn. And that helps with the Incanter's Flow, and also the Incanter's Flow hitting pretty much every burn card in his deck.
Yeah, that's definitely a factor. I think the fact that there's no card draw in his hand is also a factor as well, because you do like having that 1 Arcane Intellect, that 1 Refreshing Springwater in your hand when you get to go Deck of Lunacy. You can totally go Deck of Lunacy with no card draw in your hand, because we've talked about this effect a lot of just how stacked your deck becomes with draw 3 effects when, you know, all of your 3-cost spells are transforming into that. But he does also already have 1 Netherwind Portal in his hand, which means that's 1 Skull of Gul'dan, 1 Sprint, 1 Nourish that's not going to be in his deck, potentially. So, like, it's very interesting, and I think this deck gets a bad reputation for just, windmill slam your Deck of Lunacy and you win the game. Like, there are a lot of ifs and buts and maybes that go into it. But personally, for me, I would have still viewed this as a lunacy game. So I'm super interested now as to where this is going to pan out for Jarla.
Well, what didn't pan out was that devolving missiles, because there's still a Sethic and no way to kill it unless it's Rune Orb into something. So I guess like Rune Orb into Brain Freeze with Coin is something Jarla's probably thinking about, or another devolving. Whether he shows that much respect to it is a different question. He could just ping and pass.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, is fine. It's like, with 4 mana, how scared is he of this Sethic at this moment in time, at least?
Oh boy. Ethics for the rest of the game.
Well, you say that. Tiny Fins for the rest of the game as well.
Yeah.
Let's go for Initiation. This can help out against potential early Apexis Blats, or just the minions he knows Jarla has, because he has seen him play Font of Power.
Mini Mage, Steward of Scrolls, Aegwin.
Oh, Aegwin every time, even in Spell Mage.
I think it ends up being Steward. Generally, you do want the cheap ones, and this is just an overall whiff, and he would have just liked to have, you know, taken some efficient spell damage that he can play with multiple spells at some point in the game. But yeah, he's going to end up taking Steward. What will really blow my mind now is if he still plays Deck of Lunacy, having played Incanter's Flow on 2. Like, that I just will not be able to get on board with at all. But no, okay, he's going to go with the... looks like he is just fully committed to burning the Priest down this game.
And there's Elusha as well, and although might not be super relevant at this exact point, well, you know what I'd love to see? Warma just Elusha and go, you've had Deck of Lunacy this amount of time, you've not played it? I'll play it for you. And then just mess everything up, it'd be so funny. And then lose. Yeah, that initiation was actually very clutch here, because yet again, Warma has a minion on board and Jarla does not.
It was, yeah. Wonder how many order lulls we're seeing in chat right now. Obviously, he's trading a Sethic first and then shooting a targeted spell.
You do your job, Saul.
I mean, that was quick.
The discover job for us, come on.
That was very quick.
Don't care. I mean, that didn't turn out too badly for Warma, did it? Bit of a tricky turn though. Condemn even with spell damage is not quite enough to get there. Probably more happy at having a potential lab partner in the rally pool and than having the Tiny Fin. Oh yeah, Tiny Fin won't rally. What am I talking about? It's
Tiny Fin 0. Yeah.
So Raised Dead was the Tiny Fin issue.
Yep.
Oh, is this just a good mask?
It's a pretty good mask, yeah. How much better it's getting. It's on curve, it pushes damage, and you get to play it while being ahead on board, which is a luxury that you don't often get.
Yeah, holding this 4/5 on board is nice, isn't it? And like, what are the other options? Like Stewart into something, but then Hysteria clears, so that doesn't seem great. And like, what the something probably is never going to be a spell you play this turn. So Stewart ping, like,
right,
good.
You might want to consider bumping the 1/3 and then masking as well, just to remove the weird disaster scenario where the damage doesn't get split properly. I guess that's nonsense though, isn't it? Because of the damage that you miss from the face attack. I'm not sure the disaster scenario is worth it. Jarla going to go somewhere different though, playing the Netherwind portal out. He does still have a board that is Hysteria resilient, which, you know, I like. If he's going to make more minions, just make sure that Hysteria isn't a clear. I was like, damn, extra damage on hero powers really caught up with me last game. What if I can just stick this fallen hero for the entire game?
It's worth a try. Gonna get the news of what the secret is. Oh, okay. Not bad. Nice high health minion. Although that arguably doesn't help with Hysteria.
How are these words? Do you know what this card's called, Raven?
Crusher? Something Crusher?
Crowlusk Bark Stripper.
Oh,
Like,
it's
what-
the bark stripper, yeah.
What? That is certainly a collection of sounds. Like, what on?
Those are, in fact, letters. What, Crollusk? Like a mollusk.
Like a mollusk? Yeah. Okay.
That looks like he's going to go for Font of Power. There's not much card draw, so holding all of these minions probably isn't a huge issue. Well, he's kind of got card draw now.
Yeah, this key warden value he's been picking up this game is going to be pretty huge for him. Like, particularly because his first pick was Devolving Missiles, right? Which is possibly the best card in the game against Priest.
Or just full stop.
I wonder.
No, it's Sparkjoy cheat, don't you remember?
Oh, yeah. No. 3-drop.
Oh, okay.
Time runs out on me.
I do wonder what, like, if anyone's ever done that, where, of course, you've got to take into account class and class cards, but just said, okay, I'm going to make a deck, and it's what you would deem the best 1-drop I can pick, the best 2-drops, the best 3-drops, the best 4-drops. Just seeing what the deck even looks like.
Yeah, it's that zombie chow deck I always talk about. That's actually what that deck was. It was great.
Or I guess to be fair, like Ike does it every rotation, right?
That's true,
Good
actually.
card shaman. He just
Yeah,
puts
good
every
card
best
shaman.
card in.
Yeah. But things have really slowed down here for Jarla. He hasn't hit the card draw that he's really needed to just explode through his deck. Really hoping to pick something up to help him start miracling through his deck, which I think right now is like the refreshing spring water that he needs to pick up, because with the discount in his deck, that's going to ramp him, it's going to draw cards, it's going to be cheap itself, he's going to be able to pop off and get through this. But right now, he's just kind of got this like weird, clunky value hand, and I don't think that's what he was looking for when he committed to the Incanter's flow line, right? Like, I don't think that was a value plan that he was looking to build up at that point. It was a burn plan that he was looking to build up.
Yeah, and in hindsight, I guess, you could even say that holding the mask might have been okay, because he didn't have the backup burn to keep that pressure going, right? And although it looked good on paper, that could have all been healed up by now for, in that alternate timeline.
Sure.
Does that have evocation? I think the Jarla should just looking at dumping as many of these minions as possible.
Oh, devolving again. It was Nitro Poison and some other card. Like, obviously you picked Devolving Missiles.
It was
if you really
Nitro
want to know
Boost
there,
Poison
Raven.
and not Devolving Missiles.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you're really going to give me a hard time, it was 2 cards and Devolving Missiles. So obviously he picked Devolving Missiles.
Well, I'm in such a strange spot. I'm honestly just not used to seeing in this matchup.
Yeah.
Where he's like ahead and pressuring to win the game. Like, he can test his secret with the 1/1, at least to just go face. And then, he's got ways to proc a counterspell. And then he can, like, even if all those things you could argue like go wrong, he can just apotheosis the 8/8 and then play Zyrella. Like, he's gonna go with death. Okay.
Yep, he sure is.
Whether he likes it or not. Okay.
Baron play picked up, maintains the 1-mana Shadow of Death in hand, gets the news that it is Ice Barrier. Of course, slightly different scenario this time for Warma, because he does not have the knowledge on what the Key Warden card is this time. Like last time, Jarla spellburst it and then jammed it immediately, so he, Warma knew what he had to play around, the additional copy in hand. But this time, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
A kind of a resigned nod that time to the to Devolving Missiles number 4 coming down this game, I think.
That was the one he knew was there, right? Because that was the first spell burst.
Mm-hmm. No, they were both from the Key Warden that just got played, right? That was the one that was discovered.
Oh, did he proc it?
Spellburst.
Oh, I thought he didn't proc it. I'm being stupid.
I'm pretty sure he procced it, yeah.
Okay. Well, lethal.
Mazaki's everywhere, yeah, I mean, pretty much, right? That's kind of got to be your first instinct every time you see a Mazaki come down.
Illusion? Like, just get those spells gone quick.
The hand is just too juicy to Elucia, though, surely.
Is it?
Well, if your opponent just slams your Yogg, you just kind of die?
They might die.
True. I mean, that is always a possibility, yeah.
I guess the question is, would they slam your... would Jarla slam the Yogg?
Yeah, true.
Is that a realistic expectation with the quality of your hand?
Interesting. I was curious about just, like, Ysera Dream that turn as well.
What knowledge would the stars provide?
Wow. Oh boy. Oh, he has Devouring Plague as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay. Did not spot this line. Did not spot this line at all.
Shows the respect, clears up the board. And back up to 30.
Yep. That was also on Warma's side. That was the spells he needed to juice the Yogg, I believe. I think he started that turn at 8 spells, and that was 9 and 10 for him.
Okay, so next turn's locked up. Jarla does now have some card draw with that Arcane Intellect, so he can continue to draw to an extent, but he does still need some hand space, especially because of this evocation.
He's just playing Devolving Missiles every turn. That's all he's doing.
I think Warma's deck is just like some bacteria now. It's devolved so far.
True, yeah. It's just crept back into the primordial soup
Yeah.
from whence it came. This 1-mana Shadow of Death is monstrous now.
Will you not bounce it instead with Dream?
I don't think so. Like, death is just death, right? Like, it costs the same amount of mana. Like,
Don't get philosophical on me, Sol.
yeah, that's just the end, Raven. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you, but that's just it. No, it's... I mean, like, they both do the same, right? It's just like death is situational and Dream isn't. They both cost 1, right? It's not like Dream is cost 0 these days.
I guess I was more considering of what's the value of giving Jarla a card that he has to spend 8 mana on it again.
Yeah, sure.
And then keeping a death for who knows what. Worst case, Jarla spends 8 mana and then he plays death, but it's a whole nother turn's progression in the game, and Jarla's turn cost 8, Warma's death costs 1. So yeah, he does gain the card, I guess, in this instance, but yeah, it's just a interesting thought. Like, does Jarla want to spend 8 mana on another 8 again? I don't know.
Boy, oh boy, this is some cheap old burn.
No Apotheosis in hand either for Warma.
I do wonder a bit about these incredibly liberal uses of Devolving Missiles, and it seems extremely strange to be sat in this seat and criticizing Jarla for using something liberally, but it does seem like that's what he's done. He's had so many of them, and he's now in a position where there's big minions on board, and he has no real way of clearing them to make room for Mask.
It's also just a very weird phrase, isn't it? You have loads of them, so don't use them liberally, right?
Right.
Like, normally, when you have a lot of something, you can do that. But yeah, maybe it's pushed it just a little bit too far. Just trade into the 5/6 now, and just Ysera awakens this away. I imagine it's just at least plan A.
Plan A activated.
Why am I going to take this slow? Okay, just going to play more minions on the board. It makes sense, right? It's just better versus Mask again.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think the threshold is? Now that Jarla is very clearly not playing a deck of Lunacy game here, what's the threshold on Jarla just suddenly not having enough? Is it the whatever comes out of these Rune Orbs? Is that the decision point?
I think he's at he's at the point now where he needs some help, right? Which again, I think is yes, Raven. Do you have something to say?
Now the Big Bang's not even happened, Sol. We've gone that far back.
Okay. But yeah, I think he's certainly at the point where he needs some help, and I think that was evidenced by the fact that he went Steward of Scrolls over like Lab Partner. Because if he could get there, you'd just take the cheap one, right? And at some point, you'd go 0 mana spell damage, Fireball, Rune Orb, Apexis Blast, like all in the same turn, right? Because they're super cheap. But because he's kind of resigning to the fact that he can't get there with the contents of his deck anymore, he took a card that can give him some extra help in the Stewart, and Stewart obliged.
And I also feel like in this game, I don't know why we call it Spell Mage, because I feel like Jarla's played way more minions than he has spells.
True.
And way more devolves than he's anything else. Not quite, right?
Damage?
Oh no, we got there.
Yeah, he missed a damage on the...
Oh yeah, if he brain froze first.
No, 5 and then 4. No, it's the same. Yeah, it was exact. Yeah, that's fine.
On the Fairy Dragon. Just 'cause it's got a
Fairy Dragon. Sorry, yeah. On the laughing system, my bad.
What was that tiny thing? Oh, wait. There's the play, Sol.
What's up?
He has the Baron's Frenzy person. Rally. Next turn, he can just lethal.
What are you saying? What are these words that are coming out of your mouth?
He has the Baron's one that's 2/2 to the board on Frenzy in hand.
Yes. Yeah.
He builds a board.
Ah, gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. I mean, he's used up his Holy Smite.
Oh, he
just
threw
went
the
to smite
activator. Oh,
well, he went
clear.
to smite his own Baron.
Well, yeah. Oh, nice. Can get another smite for the Baron now.
I mean, he clearly has it in mind, right? Like, this play is certainly suggesting that is something that he's considering. Just maxing out on board like this, playing every minion in his hand. Discovers the Apotheosis, which I think is absolutely crucial there.
I think it looked more last minute than it actually was, that Thrive, but I'm glad he took the choice. I imagine he wanted the Apotheosis.
All right, lethal.
Is it? Fireball in the dream, so is that really what we're going for now?
He has one more Fireball left. Well, he's actually going for it. Okay, I was going to suggest that he didn't play the Springwater this turn and like lined it up with the Phoenix waking up next turn and like really tried to pop off. Because he still has one more Fireball remaining in his deck. He still has that Mask remaining in his deck. It's so cheap that he can cast it and then he gets so much mana back with the Apexis Blast. I think he can go, if he gets like the discounted Mask, he can easily go like Mask, Fireball, second Rune Orb? No, he doesn't have a Rune Orb left either.
Yeah, he played it before.
Yeah.
He has Evocation though, so maybe he has to, you know what? I'm going to play the cards I can this turn, make the hand as small as I can, and just go nuts with Evocation and Phoenix, because he's running out of time. Not only this turn, but in this game. Oh, he's going to
kind of like doing it this way around. Yeah, I like doing it this way around because like this way he finds like he can find stuff to clear the board and then actually get like Mask of Cthulhu to go face and stuff like that. But
I guess, but now he also has like less of those choices, right?
Yeah.
It's the trade-off, and also he can't double Mask of Cthulhu anyway.
Yeah, I don't think he minds too much like doing it over multiple turns, as long as he can get, you know, if you can get like 6, 7, 8 of the missiles to go face twice, then you're probably back in the game in terms of just getting there with pure burn damage, especially because your Phoenix is waking up next turn.
Warma goes for the tester for the counter spell. Dream does get negated here, but now he can just dig for that smite he needs for the Barons.
Right. Not like you, Raven, to get very tunneled on one weird Mimi play.
What do you need?
I'll fix it up today. Oh, no. Oh, Warma, I'm with you.
Yep. You have a new favourite GM, Raven?
Mask of Cthulhu, this.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's genuinely what the play is about, right? Like,
so
I know you're kind of memeing about, like, oh, this is going to win the game with the Frenzy, but actually he's just put 14 health on board. He's yet to see a mask from his opponent, so, yep, spot on.
That will buff as well, right?
Yep.
Wait a minute, though. That's an awfully cheap fireball.
It's 20 damage from fire. He's one off. He's actually one off. It's 2 10 damage fireballs plus 3 damage from the minion. He's straight up 1 damage off lethal this turn.
To do.
This is what I meant, right? Like,
Bonus ping.
didn't you just really want Refreshing Spring Water this turn? Like, doesn't that have so much more upside for you?
I think more so for me, I was looking at what the board looked like last turn and thought playing a mask on that board with something would have been good.
Yeah.
Obviously the evocation change. Oops, sorry. Obviously the evocation changes where we are now, right? Of course, because it's all mixed up. But the mask on like loads of minions that add low health, even if like half or even less than half of the mask hits face, it's something. We're gonna see it. Oh, look at him!
He killed one! What the? That's so lucky! He actually
hit the
managed to
second
kill a minion.
6-9. Yeah.
He didn't hit the second one, yeah. That's outrageous.
Unlucky.
Yeah, so if he still had a Refreshing Spring Water that turn, he gets 2 mana back, so he can just add ping, even if nothing else, right? Like, all he has to do is add ping, he got lethal. Like, I really felt, from where I was sat, like, lining up the Refreshing Spring Water into the Phoenix turn was his best way back into that game.
And this is just a Lucia, right?
Should be, yeah. Like, a Lucia just has to be lethal here, right?
He needs 1 damage.
Also, like, does your hand deal with your board?
Well, he could renew first in case he does get smite, right? And then he can smite the frenzy. Because the one on the right still has its frenzy.
Initiation works. Yeah, there's so many outs.
That's fine.
So many outs.
So he could always renew, and then we can see, of course, there's just a 2 mana fireball. Like, you know, that he would have gone for Lucia if he missed it. But great game there for Warma, and what a game. Honestly, I think that was super sick. There was some very weird outcomes and some very clear choices from these players. Like, we saw straight away, Jarla, the big question there was the decision to go for Incanters. Or not even a question, but his choice. He went for Incanters and then decided that Deck of Lunacy was not a card this game and stuck to it till the end. And I think that, at his point, was a good plan. I think that burning down Priest is very, very doable. It's just, I'm not really sure how, but Warma just stayed on board all game. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, and for me, like, it's weird. I feel like that's the most critical I've been of a Jarla game for like a couple of years at that point. But there was
like a
lot of there was a lot of things I think I would have done differently. All the way back to that first decision, which like is not something that I'm going to super double down on. Like I might very well be wrong about 4 mana Lunacy being better than 2 mana Incanters Flow and a burn plan against Priest these days because honestly, since most of the time since the patch has happened, we've been casting Hearthstone, like it's very difficult to get big reps in and actually testing those things. And like, obviously Jarla had to submit the deck very early, but he's had a lot of time since then to jam his lineup on ladder or in testing or whatever, and probably will have learned more about the matchups, like in broad strokes than we have. So I'm willing to trust his instincts on that. But then just like turn by turn from that point onwards, like I honestly just was not a big fan of the way Jarla played that game. And the quality of player that he is, maybe I'm just stupid and bad at Hearthstone, but I'd certainly had some real criticisms that game.
Welcome to my world, Sol. The one weird thing about that matchup, it felt like it was flipped, right? Jarla was, he had all those devolving missiles, but it felt like Jarla was playing a removal game. And it was actually Warma on the Priest, like pressuring damage, pressuring board every turn, and it was just weird. Like I'm not really sure how that happened. It's a shame we didn't get to see his I forgot the name. I'm sorry, the 2 mana legendary come into play in that game. I don't even think it was drawn, but maybe we'll see that in the future or maybe soon if Warma takes the victory here, as he only has this Paladin left against Priest and Mage. How confident do you think he should feel outside of the benefit where he only needs to win 1 game? But Paladin versus Mage, Paladin versus Priest.
Extremely confident, honestly. I think I think pre-nerf, Paladin did very, very well against mages that didn't hit Lunacy, right? Like, I genuinely, like, I talked about this, like, it's a very reductive point, but I think it's an accurate one, that pre-nerf, when Lunacy cost 2 mana, Paladin won the vast majority of the games where they didn't hit Lunacy, and they lost the vast majority of the games where they did hit Lunacy, right? And I know people say, well, that's the same for every deck in the game, but I don't think it is to the point that it was for Paladin. So now that the mage deck is a much more pure encounters flow deck in a lot of situations, because Lunacy is so much less impactful coming down on 4. I do think Paladin has a lot of things to be doing with in this matchup. The only problem they have now is game ending, right? Because that used to be the role of pen flingers, that eventually mages did tend to be able to grab hold of the board, but it was usually just 1 or 2 turns too late, or 5-ish health too late, and then the pen flingers could just come down and finish the game from that point, and even be resistant to ice barrier and things like that.
That's a very good point and an interesting one as well, because although I completely agree with you, of course, Penflinger got there in the end, but most Paladins, because of Penflingers have been have gone faster, right? They've moved those spots to earlier minions, faster minions, which can benefit them versus Mage. And also, specifically Warma, in his Paladin, he's running double Libram of Judgment. That's a couple of Penflingers in 2 turns time. So, he does have access to some late game high damage output as well. So I think actually, even with the nerfs, Warma's positioned, at least for this specific matchup, very well.
Yeah, there was a lot of debate on Paladin versus Mage pre-nerf, and my stance was like, if you play double All My Yogg and at least 1 Libram of Judgment in Paladin, you're favored. So now, Warma playing double Libram of Judgment?
Twice as favored.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he doesn't have the pen flingers now, which is kind of the thing he has to compensate for. But yeah, certainly I think that extra damage is a really, really big deal. Because it's not just damage, it's anti-race, right? Because at some point Burn Mage tries to race you. And if they're throwing fireballs at your face and you're dealing 5 damage to them that heals you for 5, there's only one person that's ever going to win that race, right?
Job's done.
Warma was off to a good start. Combustion, of course, has dealt with the initial push, but as we can see, plenty of resources and a Penflinger involved as well now. I do like this play, though. Here with the 3-4. Because I do think, for me at least, a lot of Paladin players hold on to the battle cry of Commander too much. Sometimes I think it's great to just play Spider Tank, and I think it can be held a little bit too often for my liking, at least for that secret synergy.
Yeah, I agree, and I think I'm also one of those players. I think I'm on both sides of this argument.
I agree, and I know I'm wrong.
Yeah, I love drawing a card with this thing so much. But when I say I agree, I think generally, I think in this spot, if you offered me this position,
right,
play
you
the
play it,
every single time. But I am also generally pretty greedy with trying to draw a card with that thing.
You don't need to draw cards if they're dead because you've got a 3-4.
Very, very true.
Kind of a strange hand here from Warma. The Goody 2 Shields was actually a very good draw, because outside of that, it looked a little bit of a flimsy turn, didn't it?
Yeah, particularly great because it's coming down into the Apexis Blast turn. Just having that big, juicy Divine Shield minion landing into that Apexis turn is a very, very big deal, because now what does Jarla do? Apexis Blast the 3-4. Very good chance now the Divine Shield minion just gets to take care of this straight up. Yep, boom, there it is.
And that's, I think, a reasonable expectation, even especially you put in the fact that there's a Libram of Hope in hand. Libram of Hope, sorry. Libram of Wisdom in hand, which means that it can actually hit for 5, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Solari?
Oh, don't. Have you seen the primes this guy can pull?
You won't believe how many primes we can fit into this bad boy.
And someone just slaps Warma on the top of the head, and he's like, what? Excuse me? Broom going to be pretty nice as well. Going to stop the devolving missiles on the prime, or the Solarian generation of it.
True. Yep.
Could even just use a Libram on it to then get the Libram back again. To again dodge devolving missiles, eating the Libram. I think I like this a lot. Yeah, this ticks all the boxes for me, Sol.
Yeah, agreed. Shame that the Librams aren't 0. That's the only first world problem that Warma has this turn, because then he can really do the Libram machine gun, which was much more common back in the days where the list just had Broom in it naturally. But yeah, a lot of things got achieved that turn for sure.
And look at this Goody 2 shields. It is so annoying, isn't it?
By the way, positioning on point for Warma. Not just this turn, I didn't mention it the turn before, but the turn before he had Goody 2 shields and a 3-4. And in that situation, he put the 3-4 in the middle, right? Because that plays around ping combustion, removing the Divine Shield. This time around, the Divine Shield minion still has the most health on the board. So this time it takes Pride of Place dead center to play around combustion. He's absolutely nailed it on both occasions so far.
Those are the small things you need when you go against someone like Jarla, who, consistently has proven to, get the most out of his cards every single turn. You want to make that as awkward as possible.
Yeah.
And again, Jarla just hasn't got a very pretty turn, has he? Maybe it's just Firework this turn, even though it floats the mana. I guess he can play the 1-drop too.
It's just so juicy to corrupt that thing, though.
It is, but is he going to survive to get value from that? Is he going to end up just hitting a 4-2 anyway at this point?
Yeah, it's very possible. I drew 2? Oh, I thought it only drew 1. Not a big difference. Obviously, Jarla will burn a card here, but, he's drawing 1 extra card, he's burning 1 card. It's net 0, essentially. Yeah, Warma just going to push.
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
I think he can just cash out here, right? Okay, he's going to play 1. I was wondering whether he played both Librams, because he doesn't actually care that much at this point if he gets his all Librams in hand devolved, because he just has Liadrin to bring them all back anyway. But I guess Avenge is just Avenge in this spot, right? It's pretty great. I mean, at the same time, Libram and Avenge are just both things that get punished by devolving missiles, right? Whichever way around he does it, it's kind of just gets messed up by devolving.
I guess, yeah. I think that was still fine, because the second there's just not Mask or devolving there, it's a very hard turn for Jarla.
True.
And I know that's just, the second he's not got this card, and this card. It sounds a bit silly.
In his 10-card hand!
Yeah, I know it sounds a bit silly, but maybe it happens this time.
Yeah.
And was 1 damage going to change the clock much? I don't think so.
I really would like Warma just to be on the lookout for being too greedy with this Lady Liadrin. I think this is the last turn, all things considered, that he can afford to not play Lady Liadrin here. Yeah,
he does have the... I'm just going completely blank on cards. Yeah, he does have 1 Hand of Adal in there as well, doesn't he? Which he'll almost certainly want.
What to do? What to do?
Yeah, there's also other upsides to greeding it, which I suppose, if he draws a Judgment, right, then he can potentially use the Liadrin to corrupt the Judgment, which can be a big deal as well if he finds that in hand. But
and like we mentioned earlier, he's got 2.
He has got 2, yeah. But point being, as soon as his hand just doesn't have a good tempo play in it, I would just like him to play it, right, and just not get too greedy with it.
And I'd argue this was probably just good enough.
Yeah, exactly. Right on the limit.
Yeah.
Again, by the way, 3-5 dead center. He's not missing a trick with this combustion positioning.
Okay. Ping time?
Ping the 5-6, you mean?
I know he'll lose his minion, but does he want to take 5? I guess so.
Yes, he does. Just woke up this morning and was really feel like taking 5.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those days.
Yeah.
Oh, Sol, can't draw a card again with Commander. You okay?
I need help. Wait, hang on. 7, 8, 9. It's lethal, right? You just make space, play Liadrin, you get at least 3 Librams back. That's game. It's series. Play Liadrin, they cost 0. You're playing at least 3.
Oh, yeah, he played the Attendant last turn, didn't he? Which pushed them to 0, yeah.
It's just game over.
It looks like Warma is well aware.
Right? Is that enough?
6, 13, 14. Yeah, he's got 15, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, really good game there. And clean play from Warma. I know you've pointed out throughout that game, but I do think like every choice there was just very, very nice. Every placement on point.
Yep, very nice indeed. Playing around combustion every single turn consistently while getting his own turns right. Making sure he had enough tempo on every turn, really pressuring the mage. It has to be said that Jarla's hand sucked this game, right? Like, let's not ignore that fact. He just didn't really hit anything at all. But Warma did absolutely everything he had to do. Got the positioning right, got his sequencing right, developed tempo, pushed damage. Not the easiest lethal in the world that's ever been seen at the end as well. And he caught it. You know, you'd expect a player at this level to catch it. If I'm catching it, you best believe that they are as well. But, you know, everything that he could have done, he did it. Congratulations, a well-deserved finalist for Warma.
Yeah, and we saw there as well that there was like never a good Apexis blast turn, you know, that felt that good. There was never a good turn where like great removal, like the mass cleaned the board, but there was the refill. You know, like I think Warma just made that so annoying every single turn of that last game. Excuse me. So really strong there from Warma, and he's going to make it to the final, and that's going to feel absolutely fantastic. He does have to take down Tice, obviously a little bit later on, but still, that's just a strong, solid amount of points, a bare minimum of 4 he has just banked by making it to the final, which is a huge amount of points.